Yo, what's going on, guys? The Houston Sports Talk back in the video day, and we're going to be talking about Zach Wilson and where he might be going in, a potential landing spot for Zach Wilson in the offseason. As today it was announced that that once the season is over, the Jets and Zach Wilson will part ways. It's been a extremely disappointment for the rookie in his first two seasons. Well, actually, in my opinion, I would not say that he was that disappointing last season. He showed a lot of bad things, but I think where he's really shown disappointment this season where he's shown a lot of disappointment is this season. We've seen multiple awful games from him. I just think that honestly, what both franchises need to do, which both parties need to do between, Zach Wilson and the New York Jets, is they need to move on. This has been their situation has just been crazy. And one of the teams we're going to be talking about with the potential of Zach Wilson being traded to is the New Orleans Saints. I've seen that as the best fit for Zach Wilson. I think that when I look at all the teams, I've seen a couple of the teams. I've seen the Buccaneers. Obviously, he wouldn't be the starter with the Bucs. There's actually a big chance that Brady returns for the 2023 season, so he'd be the backup for Tampa, which is not a bad thing. So, and he takes a year as the backup, and he gets to learn from the best to ever do it, Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady, if there's anybody you want to be the backup for, is Tom Brady. I'm sure he would learn some things from Tom Brady if Tom Brady were to stick around for one more year in this league and Zach Wilson would be his backup. I think Zach Wilson might learn some things, might improve a little bit, maybe mature a little bit, which could be a really good thing for him. So, who knows? I think that's one possibility. But the main team that we're going to be talking about is the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, they're kind of heading in a rebuild if you think about it. They've lost Drew Brees, they've gone into a direction where it's really they haven't been they just haven't been good. I know they've won a couple of their last games and they've played some decent football. Got a bad win against the Browns, only 17 points scored, but they need a new quarterback. They don't have a first-round pick this year. Their first-round pick this year goes to the Eagles, so they don't have a first-round pick this year. Their quarterback situation right now is Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. I could potentially seeing the Saints going after and trading for Zach Wilson, and honestly, I'm going to kind of compare this. This would kind of be like, in my opinion, I'd kind of think of like this being like the Panthers situation this year. They had a quarterback in Sam Darnold, which they re-signed, and then they traded for Baker Mayfield and had a QB competition all throughout training camp. And then what we saw from then is we saw Baker win the job, and eventually we'd see Darnold come in at quarterback. So possibly do we see Dalton get re-signed, Zach Wilson get traded for by the Saints, and then a QB competition, and possibly Zach Wilson being the starter? I think, I don't think he'd do that bad on the Saints. Possibly has a wide receiver in Michael Thomas, who in my opinion, I think he might get traded this offseason. Potential target honestly, I say trade Michael Thomas to the Patriots. Why not? That's a player I look at the Patriots potentially going to get their number one wide receiver. So even if Michael Thomas is traded, even if he's traded, you still got decent wide receiver and decent young wide receiver in Chris Olave and a couple other decent wide receivers. Jarvis Landry, I think he should be on the Saints coming into next year as well. A couple other decent wide receivers. Maybe they added a free agent. It would really depend who would win the job. I think favor would go to Andy Dalton because he was the quarterback the year before, but I don't think Zach Wilson would do that bad on the Saints. I think that I think ultimately I think Zach Wilson would still look pretty bad, but I think Zach Wilson would play better on the Saints than he would on the Jets. I really do. I think it's just a better system overall. I think the Jets are a better run team as well than I mean, no, not really, because you got Garrett Wilson. And the Saints are actually a better run team because of Alvin Kamara. So I think the Saints would fit Zach better because you got a really nice running back in Alvin Kamara. So it takes his priorities down a little bit. I know that Zach Wilson was actually way better when before Breece Hall tore his ACL. Because he had a running back that could get him 100 yards in a game. That's something Alvin Kamara could do for you. I know Zach Wilson looked way better as quarterback when Breece Hall was in the backfield. So, I think that the Saints could be a potential target for Zach Wilson. I think this is going to be really interesting. And I don't want to hear anybody in the comment section saying that he should be in the XFL. I really don't think Zach is. I think that Zach, he's not a good quarterback. He's most likely not a starting quarterback in this league. Most likely he's going to get a chance to one more start. He's going to get a chance to start one more time on an NFL team. He's going to get a chance and try to start on an NFL team. He might, get beat out in a QB competition, whether it's with Andy Dalton or whether it's someone else whether it's on the Saints or whether it's on a different team. But I think that Zach Wilson, he either, like I said, he's either the starter to start the season next year for some team or he's not, and he's a backup. But if he is a starter next year, I think eventually we'll see him get benched. Not all the way down to go to the XFL. I think eventually once he gets his second chance in either most likely about a 65-70% chance does not pan out and looks really bad, he becomes a career backup. I don't see Zach Wilson going into the XFL at all. Josh Rosen has been able to stick around in the NFL all these years, and honestly, that's what I could see him becoming, is a Josh Rosen type of player, a backup for a lot of teams. But it just really depends. I think this is such a young quarterback to be declaring someone's future. I mean, this kid is not just in his second year in the NFL. So I think it's really, really, really hard to declare someone's future just off of 2 seasons, even though how bad he's looked. So I think he might get the chance to start on a different team, and if he can't do that, he's going to become a backup in this league. But you guys let me know what you guys think. The Saints would be a good target for Zach Wilson. I think the Saints are the team that goes after Zach Wilson. I think they are the team that lands Zach Wilson. They are a team that most likely are going to want to have a QB competition this year going into training camp. They do not have a first-round pick. The Eagles have their first-round pick this year. So that doesn't give them a chance to draft a QB with their possible top 10 pick, maybe a little higher than that. So then you go in the market, probably not getting Jimmy G. So I think that Zach Wilson would be the way to go, and then a QB competition with Andy Dalton. I think there's a lot of other teams that are going to go after him. I don't think the Panthers. I think they'd rather stick with Sam Darnold. I think they'd rather stick with Sam Darnold at the start of the season, with a probably Will Levis as their rookie quarterback, to eventually become the starting quarterback. As the draft right now, the Colts would get the 5th overall pick, and it's looking like they might get C.J. Stroud, but I think they might even pick Will Levis. So I don't think the Panthers. I think maybe I saw something. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, maybe a QB competition between Jordan Love and Zach Wilson in Green Bay. So But I think probably the Bucks or the Saints or maybe a surprise team. I think the Bucks could be really good for Zach Wilson because Brady can maybe teach some things to Zach Wilson in Brady's last year. But who knows? 2023 might not even be Brady's last year with that crazy MF. But I think there's a lot of places that Zach Wilson can go. But what I will tell you is one place he's not going to go is the XFL. Because I know it's kind of like in the NBA, everybody made a meme about Ben Simmons going to the Shanghai Sharks. Like, that's not going to happen. I know Ben Simmons and Zach Wilson are two completely different things, two different sports. But I think it's kind of a troll in my opinion. I think that, eventually if Zach Wilson keeps going down this way, the way he's going, he could end up in the XFL. But ultimately, I just don't think. I mean, the fact that Josh Rosen's never been in the XFL. And the career he's had, how bad he's looked. What was he, the 8th or 9th round pick in like the 2017 draft, 2017 draft, I think. And he's never made it to the XFL. He's been about the backup or third string quarterback for almost every NFL team there is. I'm probably not almost, but probably near half the league he's played for. So I just think that, in my opinion, I think Zach Wilson will not find him that way. Maybe in years to come, if it gets worse for him, maybe. But right now, I think he's going to get one more chance to start on a different team. And if he is not able to succeed at that, he will become a career backup. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Let me know your thoughts on Zach Wilson potentially going to this New Orleans Saints. And let me know your thoughts. Peace out.